Welcome back. Well, those were our online contributors. However, we're shifting our attention to the studio where Najib Bello is joining us at this moment. Najib, thanks for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
Well, it's been a very long discussion, dissenting views, But then, what's your thoughts? How do you think social media has affected political campaigns? I mean, looking at the fact that 2015 is just around the corner, and there was so much going on politically last week, conventions, candidates emerging, House of Reps, state assemblies, governors, and even the president.
I feel social media so far has made political contestants more answerable to people because they are in direct contact with the citizenry now. People can ask them questions. It's not like the old time of once you're accepted by the party, it's good to go. So a lot of them are making appeals to people online, talking to them, taking their questions. So I think on the long run, it will make them more answerable to the people directly.
But how has it affected the D-Day, election day? Do you think it will have a major effect?
It depends on how it is used. The result in February will depend on how it is used. We don't have a majority of Nigerians on social media. We don't have a majority of Nigerians. Most Nigerian voters are not on social media. We have less than 10% of Nigerians actively on social media. So the thing is, whoever is going to use social media to have an effect on the result of February 14th will have to influence the people on social media to take their messages offline. But just merely convincing those on social media to vote for you, I don't think it's enough. So depending on the use of social media.
Okay, so now talking about those on social media taking the message to those, the voters who are not on social media. First of all, let me ask, do you have your PVC?
Yes, I do actually.
Okay, great. Because I mean, from what I heard, a lot of people, most of the people on social media don't even have PVC. So what is that? What is the possibility of them taking that message? Looking at the fact that they won't even stand under the scorching sun on that day or under the rain to vote.
Yes. You see, the thing is, for the people who are on social media, the Nigerians are on social media, a lot of them, they don't like to go through the strain of some of these things, but they do talk. And like I've said on social media too, they do talk. And in their environment, in their societies, there are people who are looked up to. Most of them are educated, working people, more enlightened. So people listen to them. So when they get messages on social media or they interact, they have tweet chat sessions with politicians, and they are convinced. When they go back to maybe their beer parlors, their schools, they are inclined to say, okay, I think this guy, he said something about this, and I believe he's going to do it. So there's a guy who has his voter's card there. He's not on Twitter, he's not on Facebook, but he listens to that guy, and he usually agrees with him. So it could affect that way.
Okay.
But I think the politicians, and especially the political parties, should have used social media more to influence those online to say, go and get your cards. They didn't do enough of that.
Okay.
They did a little, but not enough.
Okay, so now looking at the fact that these people are influencers, like you just said, in their own local communities. But again, when you look at the facts that we have some political godfathers whom actually, dictate
some
the
of
way,
these things.
things. So if you, on one hand, talk to those on social media to sell your candidacy, and then the godfathers sell a different, how do you bring a balance?
How do we balance that? You see, the godfathers, their influence mainly is on, like we just had the primaries. The main influence of the godfathers is on the delegates. There's hardly anybody from social media will come and tell a delegate that, oh, I like so-so candidate. His godfather has told him what to do, and there's a possibility that that person can actually track his activity. We've heard some things like, I can fish you out and all that. The guy doesn't want to risk anything like that. But when you are talking about the general elections, there's hardly any godfather that will come to the general populace and say, go and vote that guy, and people will be compelled. You understand? So when it comes to the general elections, social media is more effective. But when it comes to the primaries having to do with party members, it's a bit, it's not so effective.
All right, we have to leave it here. Najib Bello, by the way, I like your handle, Barbaric.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
All right, that's where we are. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be looking at your messages streaming through our social media platforms. After this break, please join us again. Do remember you can watch these conversations all over again. Just visit our website, it's channelstv.com, or YouTube channel, youtube.com/channelsweb.
You will see a few letters I put in the books.
The fifth most viewed video in the past week is former President Olusegun Obasanjo explaining the reason behind the open letters to President Goodluck Jonathan.
My frustration of going privately to the president, taking issues with him, and getting no reaction. And then, because when I was president, I had my predecessors who will come to me. Some with written note, you will see what I said there. And I will give them and react. And if I cannot give answer or reaction immediately, I will say, look, give me time, let me do something, and I will react.
Let me tell you openly and publicly here that the way this thing has surprised me, and I'm glad and this one comes to. You know, the fact that we have endured is a great thing. You know, I mean, because at least for one in 16 years, we have a major challenger. You know.
At number 4 is a telephone interview where the presidential assistant, Joyous says the opposition APC has surprised him by coming this far after the merger of the legacy parties.
I would say prestissimo, and as quickly as possible that is. That the
Obahiagbon's description of the House fracas comes in at number 3.
I don't want to believe that the Inspector General of Police would engage in that arum-scarum act of political gambadoism without presidential imprimatur. So for me, the attack should not just stop at the dastardly show of shame and infamy by the Inspector General of Police, but we should lift the political veil to see the ants, and cornucopiously so, of presidential politics.
In second position is the insistence by House members that Senate President David Mark leave their chambers during a fracas that occurred at the National Assembly.
here? What is he doing here? What is he doing? Is he working out? Yes. What is he doing here? What is the Senate President doing in our chamber? Who invited him? Official or what? Who invited him here? Majority of us have to grant the gate. Shut up. Don't tell me that. If you say that again, I'll slap you. I tell you that. If you tell me I'm serious, I will slap you. I mean it to God.
Having won the majority of vote cast.
Topping the charts is the announcement of retired General Muhammadu Buhari as presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress.
Muhammadu Buhari as the winner of the All Progressives Congress presidential primaries in preparation for the 2015 presidential election.
Well, we do surely appreciate those comments and, of course, your engagement on our YouTube channel. The social media platforms have not only been revolutionary in Nigerian politics, they have been pervasive and ubiquitous. And it is important for politicians to understand it and leverage these platforms in order to gain public acceptance and interact with voters to get feedback on policies they intend to implement. The use of social media in 2015 campaign is not only important, it is critical as millions of people are involved in using social media networks daily. Now that's where we end this edition of the program. But as always, we continue online. Just follow the social media addresses showing on your screen and also follow me on Twitter at Victor_MBIDI. I am Victor Matthias.